people? So today I'm going to be reacting, and this is my first reacting thing, yeah. Okay, and I'm reacting to an animation by Llama Art, and they're really good. I love their animations. You should definitely go check them out. So let's get to reacting.
3 months after I turned 16 in 2005, I got my first car, a '99 Toyota Camry. On a warm Saturday night, when my friend Alex invited me over to one of his friend's big parties, I knew I wouldn't be in a condition to drive the Camry home afterward. So we carpooled with Alex's girlfriend, Brianna. We lived in the countryside of Virginia, meaning less big parties. Meaning when there was a big party, it was a huge deal and everyone would go. We lived about 5 to 10 minutes away from this kid's house. I knew where he lived as I was acquainted with him, but not exactly friends. The whole ride there, we took the same 2-lane highway type road through the woods, and this kid's house was actually on this road further down. At certain points on this road, there were a few houses on either side, and then it would just go back to being a long, empty highway again. The house was tiny, like a lot of houses.
Okay, why did they live in the middle of nowhere? That's so scary. Just why? Okay.
Around the area, but the party was held outside anyways, since his closest neighbors were relatively far away, and noise wasn't an issue. I'll skip most of the party up until the point that Brianna, who was supposed to be our designated driver, had to suddenly leave for a small family emergency. Alex said it was fine and that we'd find a ride home. Well, fast forward another few hours and another few drinks, and I could barely even walk straight. I checked my watch.
Why was he drinking if he knew he was gonna have to drive? Like, use your common sense. I'm just so done with this video already.
And it was like 2 in the morning. I figured it was time to go. I started looking for Alex, but I couldn't find him anywhere. In fact, it seemed like everybody I knew had already left. I could barely even think straight, but I was still furious at the fact that Alex could have actually left without me. I asked to use the party host's phone and dialed Alex's home number. After 2 tries, I gave up and then realized I shouldn't wake his family up.
2 tries. You tried 2 times. You should have tried like 15 times. Like, you were drinking a lot. You don't want some random person you don't even know driving you somewhere. Like, then they know where you live and everything. What happened to this guy's common sense? Please tell me.
So, literally not knowing what else to do, I dizzily stepped out onto the road and began walking back home. I knew this walk would take anywhere from half an hour to an hour in my condition. Maybe after 15 minutes of walking down the road, the slight shine of car headlights on the road was fading in from behind me. Jumping for joy.
Where was this guy's car? Like, did Alex and other person, did they take his car with them and then just leave him there? What even happened? And just walking, like, you just turned 16. Who allowed you to drink? Where are this guy's parents? Like, seriously.
Inside, I lifted up my arm and stuck out my thumb. As the car neared, it slowed down and came to a stop right next to me. The man driving the '98 Ford Explorer rolled down the window and asked where you headed. I told him my house was...
Okay. That guy in the car, he doesn't even look safe. Like, this is just an animated film, and just like looking at him, he looks scary. Like, he looks like that guy that you want to avoid at parties, or like avoid if you see him walking down the street. Like, he just looks like scary.
Just down the road and beyond a right turn, probably slurring my words beyond comprehension. He chuckled and told me to hop in. I thanked him and joyously hopped into the truck.
Even his, like, just look at that smile and look at his face when he chuckled. He's like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna kidnap you. Like,
I was exhausted, and I remember completely disregarding things the guy was asking me because I was so close to just passing out. And that's what happened. The memories of being in that truck turned to a fog as I'm sure I passed out. The next thing I remember, I woke up still in the moving truck. The guy looked at me and laughed, but didn't say anything. I looked around and realized the road we were on wasn't familiar. I nervously asked, where are we going? He then said, so what were you doing out this late anyway? As the man answered my
okay, he didn't even answer your question, and to me, I would have, like, the car's still moving, but I would have still, like, jumped out of the car. I wouldn't even go hitchhiking in the first place because it is dangerous for the person driving and the person who's hitchhiking, because you never know their intentions. So, like, don't hitchhike. Just don't do it.
very straightforward question with another irrelevant question, the sobering reality of the situation hit me. You can let me out anywhere, I told the man. The man responded with a firm no.
You see, just look at his face. He's like, no, I ain't letting you out of this car. What, you think I was really gonna drop you off home? No, I'm gonna kidnap you. Like, I'm just so done right now.
I felt like throwing up as he said that. No, I really actually felt like I was going to throw up. I started to gag as I felt more and more...
Throw up on him. Throw up on his, like, on the window so that I can't see and drive out of control, and then, like, you jump out of the car and you'll be fine. Like, I really want to know, how did this dude survive? Because right now it looks like he's getting kidnapped.
Nauseous by the second. The man took his eyes off the road to look at me, and that's when I thought of the perfect distraction. I turned in his direction as I continued to gag, and he started to kind of lean away and slow down the car. Thankfully, I drank as much as I did because I finally threw up and made a point of doing it all over the man's lap. The man yelled in frustration and stopped the car, and that's when I took it upon myself to run for my life into the woods and duck behind a few bushes. The man came following into the woods with a flashlight, and on 2 separate occasions, he shined the light straight over me without noticing. Eventually, I heard his footsteps walk even further into the woods past me. That was when I ran back to his truck, but unfortunately, he was smart enough to lock it. By some miracle, I saw another car approaching in the distance, and I ran out into the middle of the street, waving my arms like a lunatic. The car tried to avoid me, but I wouldn't let it. They were forced to stop, and I yelled at them to help me before they came back. Once I told them that I was kidnapped by the man who was driving that Ford Explorer, the driver agreed to give me a lift. Not to the police station or anything, but to my house. I made it back safely, where I couldn't thank the driver enough. I immediately woke up my parents and told them. My dad wanted to know if I got his tag number, and then I felt like punching my...
Okay. So, why didn't you get his car, like, his license plate for his car? And after that, I'm actually kind of surprised that you would go hitchhiking again after you almost got kidnapped. I mean, I would have done the same thing because you have no other choice. But, like, that just, like, that person could kidnap you too, and you could just be going on forever.
...in the face. I failed to get the simplest information from the guy that would have allowed me to actually properly report him. All I knew was that he drove a faded blue '99 Ford Explorer. I made sure to give Alex a piece of my mind, and part of me always held a grudge against him ever since, just for abandoning me at a party without telling me. I haven't seen him in 4 years now, however, and this was actually the first time I even thought about this incident for almost a year now. As time goes on, even the worst of memories may start to fade, but after writing this to share with the internet, it's once again fresh in my mind.
Okay, well that's it. And the lesson to learn here is just don't go hitchhiking, please. Like, you could get kidnapped like this guy and then have to do all he did, and there's a 99.9% chance that that person's gonna succeed in kidnapping you. So don't drink before you drive, don't get abandoned by your friends, and just don't go hitchhiking. Well, actually, if you get abandoned by your friends, it's really not your fault. But still, just try. If there's a family emergency, go with them. Because one, you'll probably be lonely, and two, just because it's more safe. Okay, well, bye, people.